wide open. You're not. Your eyes aren't.
Yeah. Last night was probably the most sleep I've gotten in a while. I got about 7 hours, so
That's
it's
not
decent.
bad. You get 7 hours with two young kids.
Yeah.
Man. You're doing well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. What do you like so far about what's going on right now with the first three practices?
I think the main thing is the excitement that Coach Harrell brings. Having a guy like him in this program where his big thing is having fun and kind of just letting loose and lighting the scoreboard up. I think it's what this offense needs. We have guys that can make explosive plays like KP, Tony Mathis. Our offensive line's experienced enough where we have the ability to make the explosive plays work, and he brought that in within the first 3 days. I think today was the most explosive plays we've had in a practice. So you can see that just by what he brings to the table, it's going to elevate our offense.
Looks like in that running back room, you've got some guys that maybe could hit some home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Think of Lynn J. and Mathis and those guys. What are you seeing there?
Mathis, what you're going to get out of him. He's consistent. Lynn J is still new to the program, so he's still trying to pick up on little things. We're doing a good job up front trying to make sure we over-communicate so he knows who we have, who he has, just to make it easy for him and reassuring to him. But I think once he comes along and really grasps the offense, I think we have 2 or 3 guys back there that can make home run plays at any point.
So it matter of you maybe sticking to your guy or just giving him a little crack,
right.
And that's all they need?
That's all they need.
Yeah.
From the tackles, from left to right side, how does that affect your all's communication? I mean, I know you've got the same terminology, things like that you use, but you get used to somebody next to you, they read your body language a little bit.
A little bit.
How long does
like
that?
Whenever Yates went over there, it took like maybe one practice, but once we all have a good relationship across the board, off the field too, so we know each other pretty well in and out, and the terminology is the same. It's just a matter of saying like maybe one extra thing to Wyatt or one extra thing to Yates. It depends, but I don't think there's been much of a change for that. We've clicked already.
A little different dynamic in that the offensive line is the most experienced part of the group, and the quarterbacks aren't. How are you helping that along?
It's weird because since I've been here in 18, this is the only year that we've had all returning 5 back. Yeah. Because my first year we had Yodney, he left, and then
with the same coach.
Right. And so I think it's a learning curve for us, but I think we really set that tone through winter workouts. You could go and ask any of the coaches right now, and they would tell you guys the offensive line was the hardest working group and most consistent. And I think that is what we needed to take the step to lead this team as being the most experienced.
How does that parlay to when the quarterbacks are in there and you guys going over things? Is it more the O-line, hey, this is what you're, that type of thing? Or
the biggest thing is they're the ones that are going to run it. They're going to run the offense, so we're going to listen to what they have to say.
Right.
But like if we have an adjustment that we would make, we would kind of throw it in there like, hey, this is what we would do. Or like if we get this look, this is what we're going to do. It's not just like we're telling them what to do and they're not telling us what to do. It's a fluid motion of communication and like understanding.
Describe for me, you got center, 2 guards, 2 tackles. Describe to me the perfect center, perfect guards, perfect tackles, and what's different. I mean, they're all offensive linemen, but I have a hunch that they're all very different.
In my opinion, the perfect center is Zach. He's big. He's the strongest guy in the weight room, no matter what. He's intelligent. His football IQ's through the roof. A perfect guard. I think the only perfect guard in the world is Quentin Nelson, but there's no really other comparison for that. And then tackles, it's a mix of just athleticism and knowing how to read a rush, how to read a bull rush, how to speed rush. I think if you have a high football IQ and you're athletic, you can be a great tackle.
Attitude-wise, are they different or?
It's kind of hard. I like the guys we have. I wouldn't change them for the world. I know what I'm going to get out of all of them. They know what they're going to get out of me. So I think they're perfect. I'd rather play beside them than anybody else.
How important is it that all 5 of you are back?
It's really important just because like I mentioned, we have a great relationship off the field. You know, we text every day. Whenever we have team events, we're all together. We mesh really well. We all have something in common, and we all understand that the common goal is to be a great team and be a great offensive line. And, you know, we're really pushing each other to push for that Joe Moore Award, to be a finalist for that, just to be one of the best groups to come through here. And I think across the board, we all have that same mindset. And I think that's what's going to really help us throughout this year.
James, evaluate last year for me as a line as a whole. What'd you guys do well? What'd you do poorly? And what do you have to improve upon this year?
You know, I think once that Baylor game happened, we kind of sat down and reset and kind of went through everything again. Once we figured out what we wanted to do, it clicked. You know, we did inside zone was decent for us. Outside zone took a little bit just because it's harder to run off the ball and have your pads low in that scheme. But once that started clicking, I think it clicked around Kansas. The Kansas game was the best we ran outside zone. But I think so far in spring, we're so far ahead of where we have been in terms of schematics and technique that if we can just build off of that, it's going to be a huge jump from last year.
And, you know, as you said that, because Graham told us the other day, he said the first day of install, you ran outside zone and you popped a few, and he's like, oh, that's you know.
That was something we really worked on over the offseason, just trusting the footwork, just run off the ball. You know, our new GA brought in a drill that we really liked, and I think it helped. We did that throughout the week, and it was a big difference. You can turn on the film even from the Kansas game, and now it looks a lot better. So I think it's just a thing of trusting it and really like understanding it.
Is the next step for this group, the offensive line, I mean, you moved the ball against the teams you were supposed to move the ball against. You ran the ball against the teams. Is the next step doing it against the Oklahomas, the Oklahoma States? Is that something you guys talk about?
The next step's definitely doing it against teams where people don't think we will. Being consistent is something we're really trying to get. Like, we want to be the same person day in and day out. You know, we don't want to have – Coach Moore always said that your good days are really good and then your bad days cannot be bad. So, like, you have to be the same person every day. And I think that's starting to come along throughout our room.
You like
Trying to judge where you are, you know, how you've improved with technique, things like that over the winter. You don't have the end result. You don't see like the end of blocks yet and then physical play. And you don't have as much contact in the spring now. So what's important to you and to the offensive line about evaluating where you are and saying, hey, these things we worked on in the winter are working, that we can trust them?
The biggest thing is just like the little details. So like your first step on outside zone, that was the biggest struggle that I had last season, and Doug struggled with it too. But we worked on it all winter, and then we come out and we maybe have one or two mistakes with our first step, but the rest have been clean. And the same thing with the second step. So like seeing little things like that, that's what's going to change a game for us.
And still as a lineman, you want to get to that part where you're actually
for sure, definitely.
How's the flip-flop been with Milam and Yates?
It's good. It's been fluid. I feel like Wyatt's a little more comfortable now that we're 3 practices in. Over the winter workouts, he was kind of iffy about it just because he hasn't had any live reps at left tackle. But I think after the first day, he felt really comfortable. Yates was comfortable at right, so there wasn't much change for them. It's just you got to learn how to set different on different sides. That's the only thing.
I was just saying, the one thing that's going to be different is depending upon who the quarterback is. You could be front side or back side.
Right. Yeah.
Depending upon who's out there.
Right.
So does that impact how you go about things?
I don't think. I think we're going to put the guys that we trust there, no matter who's at quarterback. I think either way we have it, whether it's Wyatt at left or at right, I think we'll be in a fine position either way.
Tell me how it works. You spend your afternoons out here, you know, physically banging heads with other people and whatever. Then you go home and there's these 2 little things running around. How do we go from you know, snarling to smiling?
At this point, my daughter's kind of a wrecking ball, so she likes rough. So she'll tackle me. I'll put her on the couch, run. So I don't really get much of a break. She's kind of in the mode where it's go 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 all the time, and she's kind of getting rambunctious. So there's not much transition with her. But when I hold my son, it's kind of just gentle because he's still fragile. Oh God.
They don't understand when you're sore, do they?
No, not at all. But I don't care. It's the best part of my day is going home and seeing them. So I'll gladly do it.
James, What specifically makes you feel that way?
I think just his approach to the game and kind of like his mindset. You know, the first thing he told us when he got here is we're going to light it up. And I think that kind of rejuvenated our group because we have guys that want to score points, want to win games, and him reassuring that to us really put it in perspective that we can do it with him. And you know, he was at Green Bay. He was a great quarterback. He knows like what to adjust off of, how to call something, and he's intelligent. His football's IQ is through the roof, and that's what's going to make a great offensive coordinator in him.